Hi, I'm Pete Vincent. I've run West Country Boat Repairs now for over 20 years. We are complete specialists in sailing dinghy repairers, and in this series of videos we're going to try and pass on to you some of the simple little tips that we've learned about how to do some repair work yourself on your own boats. Okay, welcome to our latest video. Today I'm going to run through a very common situation in coloured boats. There is a reason why a lot of the boats nowadays are made a very boring light grey colour. It's because they suffer UV light deterioration very slowly, as opposed to this obvious Laser 2000 with the racing blue, and you get the classic cover line down to here. Particularly as we leave our boats quite rightfully bow up in the dinghy park so the water will drain out, we get this oxidization on the coloured surface. It's not going to do the boat any harm whatsoever. The snag is cosmetically, we don't like it. It doesn't look good. And in actual fact, this will also come back to our resale value. Actually, if we actually do is to go through the stages now of trying to remove this, we will actually probably increase the aesthetic appearance of the boat and increase the value of our boat. You can only do this on boats that have actually got reasonably thick gel coat on them. If you're into performance boats and skiffs in particular, they will have such thin gel coat on them that you cannot afford to do this. And even on something like a Laser 2000, which as it has got gel coat you can actually measure in millimetres, you can only do this a couple of times without effect actually going through the gel. But there is no point in trying to tackle this with actually some very fine polishes. It's not man enough, it's not going to touch this. We are literally going to take the top nanomillimetre of the gel actually off. And to start with, I'm going to use 240 grit sandpaper, and we're going to rub it down pretty hard. Again, this is an area where you don't want to pussyfoot around with and worry about the scratches that you're putting into it. You will be able to recover this completely later on, but if you don't start like this, you will not get rid of the oxidation and you will not be able to recover the finish later on. So we're rubbing down pretty hard here. I've spent a bit of time on this, and yes, it's leaving a lot of scratches on here that the eye can completely see. No problem at all. We can't leave it like that. So then what we will do is we will go through different grades of wet and dry sandpaper. And what this will do is I'm going to go on to 320. The water's acting as a lubricant here to actually help us rub it down. And what I'm basically going to be doing is still taking some slight thickness of the gel actually off. And I'm removing the thick scratches, or the coarse scratches I should say, that have been left by the 240. As you can tell, this is quite labour intensive. There isn't a side step on this. You can't short circuit it and actually do this quicker. It's just a bit of question there of pure elbow grease. Okay, once I've done like that, I'm going to change down to 600. And all we're now doing is just removing the coarse scratches that the coarser sandpaper is actually left, and replacing them with finer scratches. As I said, this is 600 grit now. You can tell what the grade is. They actually print on the back of the sheets numbers on a frequent basis. Annoyingly, they used to do in different colour, with different grades and different colour backing paper, which made life so much easier. What we would probably do is the whole section of oxidation that we wanted to do, we would just go down the entire length with each individual grade, so you don't forget what you've actually done. Okay, I'm now going to go to 800, so we're starting to start getting quite fine sandpaper. What you cannot do is try and actually jump, try and save yourself time and go from 320 grit to 800. or from 240 to the 600, because in actual fact it's too big a jump. Basically it's taking you too long to get the coarse scratches out, and in actual fact you will actually end up spending more time than if you actually went through the different grades. And as you can see, I'm now actually extending it down the hole beyond the original oxidization area, and this is a way of actually blending in the area. So now I'm jumping now to 1200, and this is really getting to be really very fine sandpaper, and it's actually going to leave very fine scratches behind. And now I've extended right the way down the hole. Otherwise you would still be able to see a bit of a line. You can use sanding blocks at this stage to do this bit, although the 2000 hole is slightly concave and it actually doesn't lend itself that well to using sanding blocks. If you're going to do bigger areas and longer areas, you would basically have to change your sandpaper, so you will clog the sandpapers up. So be prepared, as you're doing quite an area, you will have to change your sandpapers. And if we were doing the entire length of this hole, we would probably go through 3 sheets of each different grade. Okay, if we let this dry now completely, in actual fact, even though we've used very fine sandpaper, the hole would appear very dull. You wouldn't see scratches, and it would appear very dull. So in actual fact, what we're going to do now is actually use a very fine rubbing compound and actually polish this up. And what the rubbing compound is going to do is actually remove the very fine scratches of 1200 left and bring the luster back. Okay, so the rubbing compound we're talking about, Farecla G3 or G300. The caption should be appearing on the screen now with that name on. This is what it will look like inside. As I said, it's a very fine rubbing compound. Readily available. You do not have to buy it in this bulk. This is a 3 kilo tin. You can buy it in much smaller tubes. We actually put it into a little squeezy bottle and add water to it, so it's already done. You get the surface slightly damp. Just squeeze on. You use less than you actually think in terms of rubbing compound. You won't go through that much at a time. We've got a special polishing tool with a Lanswell head, so you do not have to go to the extent of buying a £195 polisher. You can get these mop heads to go on with a special little adapter, which don't cost very much on eBay, to go onto power tools like your drill or an angle grinder, no problem at all. And we're now going to just run this. What you do is you do not have to apply downward pressure, you just guide it. I said you don't have to apply downward pressure, you just guide it. This one's got a variable speed, so we can increase it. This is definitely a job you have to do wearing clothes that you don't mind getting dirty, because it will spray everywhere, no problem at all, so you'll end up wearing quite a bit of the polish. And you don't really want to be doing this in your garage close to something like your car that you don't want to get covered in gel, in Now we will just very simply grab a cloth and wipe before it goes dry. just wipe off the excess polish. And there we go. There's the oxidisation cleared up. You're probably only really talking about getting it back to 90-95% colour. But you can do that, and you can do the whole length, but it is fairly labour intensive. As you can see, if you were going to do the whole length, you would actually literally have to go through this whole operation. If you really want to get it really, really good, you can actually use a finer polishing compound, G10 or high profile, and go over this again to really get the shine back. The great thing about the polish is also it will highlight any areas that are actually slightly depressed or need to be rubbed down a little bit more, no problem at all. And that dries completely, that will look actually pretty good. I hope that's been of help. If you need any guidance or help on this, please get in contact with us again. We can actually help you supply materials if you need them, or suggest where to get them from. Please stay safe during this situation, and let's enjoy sailing when we're allowed to. Thank you very much. If you would like to know more about actually doing work on the boat at home, and you would like to have a go, we also have got a little companion booklet on GRP repairing that covers everything I've just actually talked about and more. It's laminated, it's small, you can have it beside you when you're trying to do work at home. We can easily mail order it. It's £7.95 plus postage and packing, and hopefully you'll find it very helpful. It has lots of pictures and photographs in there to show you, to help you guide through it. For those of us that are really keen to have a go themselves and would like to have a bit more knowledge and confidence, we do run one-day boat repair workshop courses. Of course, we can only be able to start these again once that terrible crisis is over, but it's a full-on one-day course, very hands-on. We will take you through every single stage, from glass fibring quite significant damage right through to polishing and hiding the repair right at the very end. I said it's very hands-on. You will do every single stage. It gives you the confidence to pick up tools and coarse sandpaper to prepare the surfaces properly, how to use the right materials and when, and the different stages to go through. £95 for the full day, including lunch and a copy of our booklet. As I said, once this is all over, we can actually run these on a pretty ad hoc basis quickly when's appropriate for yourself. And please have a go yourself. It will give you the confidence to actually repair a boat yourself at home. Please all stay safe, and let's enjoy sailing when we get the chance.